How's it going? Welcome to another daily coding problem where I run through an interview question that was asked at some tech company. This either comes from the LeetCode list of interview questions, and I'm kind of working my way from the top down, or from dailycodingproblem.com, which is an email newsletter. Every day they send you some kind of interview question and they tell you what company it came from. Let's look at the one we have for today. This one was asked recently at Facebook. Implement a regular expression matching with the following special characters. Period, which matches any single character, and asterisk, which matches 0 or more of the preceding element. That is, implement a function that takes a string and a valid regular expression and returns whether or not the string matches the regular expression. For example, given the regular expression RA period and the string RAY, your function should return true. The same regular expression on the string Raymond should return false. Then we have another example. Given the regular expression period asterisk AT and the string chat, your function should return true. The same regular expression on the string chats should return false. Okay, so we've got two things, so we don't need to take care of any of the other regex stuff. That's good. Just a period and an asterisk. And we've even got 4 tests that they've given us. So let's grab those 4 tests and put them in code so we don't forget about them. So I'm going to create a new test. We'll call it regex test. Paste those in real quick. And we're going to use mini test auto run for running our tests. And we're going to use mini test pride to give us some color output. And then we need to require the actual file we're testing here. So this is going to be regex, right? Whoops. Yep, there we go. And now let's describe what that looks like. It's going to have one method that we can call match, right? We just want to return true if it matches and false if it doesn't. It returns true when the input matches the regex. Okay, and then we'll also want to test it returns false when the input does not match the regex, right? And now we can steal these examples they've given us. So the first one they gave us is Ray, and the regex is what? RA dot. Okay, and then they've told us as well that if we take that same regex, RA period, and pass in Raymond, then we would expect that not to match. Okay, that's one example. Let's do the second one. So we have an input string of chat and a regex of period asterisk AT. And then if we take that same regex and match it against chats with an S at the end, then we would expect that not to match. Okay, so this first test makes sense because we have R matches R, A matches A, and then period matches Y. The second one makes sense as well because we have period that matches the C and the H, and then A and T match at the end. These do not match because we have R matches R, A matches A, period matches Y, and then we have an additional mond at the end. So we have this big unmatched chunk. And this one is the more interesting one because it does match all the way up to here, but we've got an extra S left, right? So what I'm thinking we can do with this is we only need to walk through our strings one time for this match, but we need to grab out of our regex, we need to grab 3 characters at a time because we need to know, this is the perfect example here. Well, I guess, yeah, this is a good example. We need to know the current character we're at, and we need to know the second character, because if that character is an asterisk, then we're going to need to match the current character 0 or more times, and we need to know the third character because we need to know when to stop matching. Because we only want to match, you know, period star could potentially match this whole string, right? Period, 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 period. And we just don't even care about the AT. But the problem is, for this test, that means we'd still return true when we match the word chats, because period would just match everything and it would work, right? So we do want to make sure we check these additional characters. So we have to stop matching when we hit that third character. So let's do that. We're going to walk through and grab 3 pieces of our regex at a time and keep moving until we reach the end of the string. So let's run our test. We would expect this to fail because we don't have our regex yet, and we don't. Let's create it. And let's create our match method here, and this is going to take an input. And what else? A regex. Okay. What's going on? No method, undefined method. Oh, let's stick a little question mark on this guy. Match A. There we go. Try again. Expected nil to be truthy. Okay, perfect. Now we're failing how we want to. Let's walk through both of our strings. So I'm going to use I for tracking our position in input, and then I'm going to use R for tracking our position in the regex. And we'll start those both at 0. And while we have a character on the input and we have a character on the regex, so while we haven't reached the end of either of these strings, we're going to do stuff. And inside this block is when we're doing all of our matching and we're moving I and R, right? So by the time we get done doing that, we'll know that we've had a match if we've reached the end of both strings, right? If we still have any regex left that we haven't looked at, or if we have any of the input string that we haven't matched, then that's the time where we want to return false. So our check at the end will be I should be at the end or greater, right? So I should be greater than or equal to our input. And R should be greater than or equal to our regex size. This means that we've walked through our entire regex and our entire input. So now we need to figure out what to do inside this block. So let's first grab those 3 characters like we talked about. And I'm going to call those R, for the sake of simplicity, I guess. These are the next 3 characters in our regex, right? So I'm going to call them R1 and R2 and R3. So this is going to be regex of R, and R2 is going to be R plus 1, and R3 is going to be R plus 2. Okay, so now we have our next 3 characters. If the second character is an asterisk, then we want to do something special, right? So if R2 is equal to an asterisk, then we need to do our special matching. Otherwise R2 isn't an asterisk, right? So we only need to match a single character now. So if input I, if our current position in our string matches that single character, or that single character is a dot, right? Either it matches or it's a dot, which matches everything. Then we're going to move our input string to the next character. And then at the end of this loop, we can move our regex to the next character. Oh, we call that R. Something like this, which this could be rewritten as input I period dot include R1. Okay, so if our current character matches our current position, our current character in the string, then go ahead and move our string to the next character. That's good to go. And then at the very end, we'll also move our regex to the next character. So here now is where we have to do something special. So because we're looking at our second character, I'm going to move our regex over 1. And now we need to do this matching. So this is going to be a while loop, right? So while we have an input character and this basically, right? While we have an input character and our input matches R1 or period. So while we still have a character and our character matches the character in our regex, and here's where that third character comes into play. And our character does not equal our third character, because we want to keep matching until we reach that third character. Go ahead and increment the position in our input string. So if we have an asterisk, we're going to take a look at our current character in our input string. If that character matches the character behind the asterisk, and that character does not match the character after the asterisk, we're going to keep moving our position in our input string. I think that makes sense. And then at the very end, we're going to move our regex over one more position because now we've already looked at 2 positions. And then by the time we get to the end of our while loop here, this is where we can do the check. We should have walked through our whole input string and our whole regex, right? So let's run our tests. And it works. Flawless victory, as they would say in Mortal Kombat. Okay, what does this look like? Is there any improvements we should make to this? Any way to clean this up? This is pretty good. I mean, we could, write some helper methods with better names so that we don't have to try to parse this with our brain and figure out what the hell this is doing. But for an interview like this, I'm not really going to spend the time to do that. I don't think we have the time. So I think this is good. Let's run it one more time to make sure I didn't just mess something up. Okay, perfect. Okay, I think we're done. I'm gonna throw this into a commit. This looks good. This is going to be add solution for today, which is the 26th of February. And let's check our tests real quick and see if there's any other test cases that we feel like throwing in here. So one thing I'm not seeing is I'm seeing a period at the beginning and the end of strings. I'm not really seeing a period in the middle, right? So let's try that. I'm gonna stick a pizza here, and we'll do pizza. Try that. Okay, that works. Let's also try some asterisks in the middle here. That looks good. Okay, that worked. Let's also try... We don't have a dot star at the end of a string, so let's try that. Okay. What else? Let's add... Oh, that's a good one. Let's add a case where the input and the output are the same, right? So we have all the same character. And now for this example, let's change... Actually, I don't really care about that. Let's do another one with pizza, but let's change this character to a character that's clearly not in the string, but put an asterisk next to it, right? Because we would expect it to match Y 0 or more times. This should still pass, right? Because we want to match this character 0 or more times, I think. Let's try it. Great. I think we've added a bunch of great test cases. Let's add that to our commit. So we'll do an amend, and we'll push it up. All right, looks good. That's it. That was another good one. I'm glad we didn't have to do all the regex stuff, because there's no way we would have finished that in time. We took about 18 minutes, so we reached our 30-minute time cap. We'll do another one of these tomorrow, probably. Thanks for joining. Talk to you then. Bye.